Hare Srinivasa. Today we are now gathered to continue our contemplation on Narayana Panjara. We are in the 14th verse. So let us bow down to Sri Prasanna Venkatadasaru and seek his grace in understanding this Kriti. So whenever we bow down to the Kriti Karta or the Grantha Karta, the grace of that Grantha Karta in the form of the understanding, because the words here are from the mind of that person who composed this. So when we are seeking to be associated with that mind, we also get the understand the nuances of what he has said here. Now, in the 14th verse, the avatar of Krishna continues. In the 13th verse, we saw that Krishna was described as the Yogeshwareshwara in the sense that he is the Yajnakarta, Yajna Bhoktra, Yajna Palaka, Yajna Shila, and the Yajna Rupa itself. And now his Bala Leelas are also described by Dasaru, reminding us that it is Narayana, full of auspicious attributes, who has actually now um, taken the avatar of Krishna to depict the gunas that one has to think about and contemplate while chanting the Nama. Narayanaaya namo Narayanaaya namo Narayanaaya namo Narayana Naradara mukhadinda narakastara ebbisida Narayanaaya namo Narayana Gopa striyara kuchadi ನ್ಯಸ್ತ ಚರಣಾಬ್ಜಯುಗ ನಾರಾಯಣಾಯ ನಮೋ ನಾರಾಯಣ ಗೋಪಿ ಜನಜಾರ ನವನೀತ ದದಿಚೋರ ನಾರಾಯಣಾಯ ನಮೋ ನಾರಾಯಣ. So here we have one interesting thing by written by Jagannatha Dasaru in his Tattva Suvali, where he tells that you are the one who is the giver, means the giver of the opportunity, giver of the body, giver of the mind, anything. ಎನಗೆ ದಾತನು ನೀನು ನಿನಗೆ ದೂತನು ನಾನು ಇನಿತಿದ್ದ ಬಳಿಕ ಅಧಮರ ಅಧಮ ಮಾನವರು ಅನುಸರಿಸಲ್ಯಾಕೋ ನಾನಿನ್ನು. ಎನಗೆ ದಾತನು ನೀನು, you are the giver for everything that I have, you are the source. And with that, whatever you have given me, if I try to worship you, then pujya pujaka ನೀನು ಪೂಜೋಪಕರಣಸ್ಥ ಮೂರ್ಜಗತ್ ಪತಿಯೇ ನೀನಾಗಿ ಭಕುತರಿಗೆ ನೈಜ ಸುಖ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಕೊಡುತ್ತಿಪ್ಪೆ ಪೂಜ್ಯ ಪೂಜಕನಾಗಿ ನೀನು. This is we recollect it again from last week's Chintana. The puja pujaka bhava is extremely important, because if we do not have the bhava that Paramatma is the giver and Paramatma is the cause for this worship also, then we tend to feel very much arrogant about what we are able to do. We feel that I have done the seva, I have done that, I have done this, but that is very detrimental to our sadhana path. The reason is that our mind is totally completely under the false impression that we are able to do independently, which is not true. And when there is untruths which are roaming about in your mind, then the mind becomes polluted. And so further, a polluted mind cannot grasp the truth at any time. So once the mind gets polluted, then the truth does not appear to us, because lines are there, lines of Vedas are the lines of the Dasar Padas are there, people are singing it, people are talking about it, but nothing that is really which is going to be helpful to us in our sadhana will register in our minds until and unless it is clean. So the cleanliness of the mind is extremely important. And starting from there, if we look at it, the ego is very detrimental to this pureness of the mind. So we have to remove ourselves from there. At the beginning, this itself is one reason that we need to follow this method of puja pujaka bhava. Wherever we go, wherever we worship, at least even in the worships, if we have to start doing it, then we start getting it in other actions also, slowly by slowly. And that's extremely important. With the knowledge that he is the data, we can do it. That's why these two verses are put together. There is no other data other than you. in the world, there may be many people through whom we have obtained certain things. We can tell that so and so person, they granted me the tickets to go for the VIP darshan, and I was able to go. And then when we go there and do the darshan, we have to thank that person, and that person who was inspired by that Lord Venkatramana only to give that ticket to us or to enable us to purchase the ticket also. So these kind of thoughts are much required. I am so great, that's why they gave me. If we think like that, then the attitude of the mind causes it to become very unclean. Puja pujaka neenu pujopakarnasta. In all the puja vastus, you are there. Moor jagat patiye neenu. You are the Swami of the three worlds, and whatever exists is because of your grace. Neenagi bakutarige naija sukha vyakti kodutippe. You, by your own grace, give the ability, energize the jiva to enjoy its own bliss. So here, naija sukha is the person's own bliss, means each jiva has its own swabhava. And if it is a mukti yogya jiva, then it has its own innate sukha and jnana, which it can enjoy, provided Paramatma enables it. So when Paramatma has to enable it, he enables it in the moksha at the fullest capacity. But in the samsara also, they obtain a slight taste of that bliss. And that taste of bliss is seen when we are innately, inherently happy without anyone telling you anything. If you are just happy that day, then that is a taste of bliss. And that taste of bliss was got by the Gopika Striyas, by the gopis in the Vrindavan. In Vrindavan, Paramatma appeared as Lord Krishna, and he gave this bliss to the Gopastris because he wanted it to be a memorable incident. He wanted it to be a thing that we can contemplate on to understand how this Puja Pujaka Bhava continues and enacts in the form of how he graces the Jivas. The Gopika Stris were Apsara Stris who were wanting to do the seva of Paramatma, and they wanted the Anga Sangha of Paramatma, and they worshipped him. And the worship was also accepted by Paramatma, and he gave them the forms of these Gopika Stris who would be in and around nearby to Krishna, where they could talk to him, where they could touch him, where they could feed him butter, where they could feed him milk. He gave them the opportunity. And then in turn, he gave them their innermost desires, which was to be satisfied with him in a kind of bliss. So that is enumerated here by Dasru in the 14th Padya. He says, Gopas Triyara Kuchadi Nyasta Charanabja Yuga Narayanaya Namo Narayana Gopi Janajara Navanita Dadichora Narayanaya Namo Narayana. Gopas trees, they were hankering for the touch of your feet. They were hankering for the touch of your hand, for your beautiful smile, and for your looks. And you gave them that. That is why he's saying Nyasta means to you placed your feet on their chest, which was what they wanted. And that is the kind of feet that you have. Enta Pavana Padavo, in Enta Pavan Punya Padavo, Rangaya is Devarnama sung by Hayavadana, with Ankita Hayavadana by Vajiraja Swami. So here they contemplate on that Narayana and remember that he took the avatar of Krishna. And as Krishna, his tiny feet, they were running about in Vrindavan. He was running about in Vrindavan, making the Goshtava Pavana Madida Pada. In the areas of the Vrindavan, wherever he went about, that place became extremely pure. And the Gopastris, they wanted him to stand up on their own dehas. They were cajoling him, they were cuddling him. And he was giving in to that because he knew their innermost desires. He had made them to do the tapasya. He made them to become pure enough to have the sparsha of that Paramatma. And then he gave them sukha. Gopi Janajara Navanita Dajitora. This Gopi Janajara Paramatma is having no reason for having any kind of affair with any Gopika. But he had lot of people who were hankering for his touch and for his for his pleasure. So he accepted their prayers, he accepted their entreaties, and he gave them that. And there is a difference between a human being who is lusting for pleasure and Paramatma who has no lust at all. That is why when we think about Paramatma's guna as Gopi Janajara, Gopi Janajara is a guna of Paramatma. So when why is it a guna for him? The guna is there because Paramatma is extremely capable, Nitya Trupta and Swaramana. He has no need for the contact of any Pancha Bhautika Dehas or any Deha like even which is Nitya Muktalu Lakshmi to give him happiness. Yet he accepts the sevas of Lakshmi all the time. And that is why she is Dhanya. Enu Dhanyalo Lakumi Yanta Manyalo is told by Purandardasaru. Because what you have to offer, if the supreme most person is taking it, then it is a kind of achievement. It is a kind of happiness which that jiva is feeling. We do feel that no? When we take some flowers or fruits to Devasthanam and the pujari takes the flowers that we have given and he just decorates the Lord's form with it, we feel very entirely happy. What I have done today is such a great thing. We feel in our own minds that he has accepted our seva. In the same way, all the time Lakshmi Devi is serving Paramatma and she is having the Dhanyata Bhava. So what has to be done is done, and by that happiness is obtained by Mahalakshmi. And that Paramatma has nothing to receive from her, yet he receives the seva, and that is his greatness. So how much ever you think about this concept of Paramatma accepting the sevas and pretending that he is fulfilled by touching the gopikas, by smiling at them as if he was much more happy by doing that. So that is his compassion on the jivas. When he has no need, yet he does. And Gopi Janajara is a guna. If we contemplate about it, any kind of ಜಾರತ್ವವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದ ಪಾಪಗಳಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಗೋಪಿ ಜನಜಾರನೆಂದರೆ ಸಾಲದೆ. It's Vyasarajaru's tone. He is telling ಚೋರತ್ವವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದ ಪಾಪಗಳಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ನವನೀತ ಚೋರನೆಂದರೆ ಸಾಲದೆ. So what is this Paramatma? He is so compassionate. He said that how will a person who is lustful, who has been lustful at some time due to his prarabdha karma, but is actually a good jiva, how will he be relieved of those sins? How will a person who is of a good nature yet due to prarabdha has taken someone else's property or something, then how will he be relieved? We don't know what we have done in the countless janmas that we have come. We cannot be sitting and claiming that we don't have a need to steal anyone's property. We have no need to um, lust after something when we have been given everything in life. As far as I can see, we'll talk like that because that's how we feel. But the thing is, this janma is just like a dot in the countless janmas that we have taken, and we don't know. And so Dasaru or Vyasaraja Swamiji says, if you contemplate on the guna of Paramatma called Gopi Janajara, then in your countless janmas, if you have hankered after something which is lustful, then you will be relieved of that papa. Such is the grace of Paramatma. He had no need for doing all this. One reason he did it was for the gopis themselves who were hankering for it, not that he needs it. He was fulfilling their wishes and he was completely nirlipta. He had no lepa. He had no touch of anything that was associated there. But Paramatma's grace is not just for one moment or one time or for one person. That same action throughout the generations, whenever these 5,000 years, whenever a person talks about Gopi Janajara and understands this Leela of Paramatma as that he is doing it without any attachment to that. He doesn't need that pleasure. He is doing it for the sake of the jivas who have appeared as the gopis through their tapas. So understanding this, if we think about Gopi Janajara, in our janmas or wherever, if we have done such contemplations of lust, then that will be relieved for us. Gopi Janajara Navanita Chora, Navanita Dadi Chora. He is the person that Krishna appeared and he wanted to take the Navanita and butter and curds from the gopis who used to carefully remove the butter from the curd and keep them so that Krishna would come. And whenever Krishna did not come to one gopi's house, she would be totally flustered. Why did not Krishna come to my house today? So that means the inner hankering for Krishna's presence and for him to accept this Navanita was there among the Gopikas. They were waiting for him to come and take it. Because no, they cannot really offer is the implication that we have to understand. Our Gurugulu, Bananji Govindacharya, used to say that this Navanita is just a symbolic of the bhakti bhava in a devotee. So every devotee has a bhakti bhava which is inherent in him due to his swabhava. And if that is if it is a sajiva, and that bhakti has to be taken by Paramatma. We cannot offer to him anything unless he wants it. So that's why they say, if he wants it, he will take it. And for that, we have to call him. Come to my mind and take whatever I have to offer. So that is what the Gopikas did. They churned the butter every early morning. And so we have to churn the mind with the churning stick of the Madhva Shastra. And the butter that comes out of it will be very soft and smooth because it is the devotional attachment and love that we get for that personality of who is Paramatma, who exists everywhere, who is by his benevolence we exist and we live. So that is the implications of these gunas or these kriyas of Paramatma. I mean, there are many more implications or anusandhanas which we can do for any incidents that appear in the Bhagavatam. Here we have seen Gopi Janajara Navanita Dadichora Narayanaya Namo Narayana. So the Supreme Personality who is full of completely auspicious attributes appeared as Krishna. And so whatever he has done as actions over there, they have to be interpreted in the light of the right Shastra, Madhva Shastra, which is always talking about the supremacy of God as disclosed by the Vedas. Vamshagayana Priya Vidu Kulodbhava Krishna Narayanaaya Namo Narayana Vamshavardhaka Sujana Vamshamardhaka Kujana Narayanaya Namo Narayana. So he is very much accepting of all the people who sing his glory. You have to just sing his glory and he is happy. So what does he do to them? He came Vidukulodbhava Krishna, means in the Chandra Vamsha, he appeared as Krishna. And Krishna itself means what? Karshati iti Krishna, who attracts. He attracts the people. When you continue to chant Krishna's Nama, you are attracted to chant the Krishna's Nama again and again. When you start going and visiting Krishna's temple and looking at his image, then you are attracted to that again and again. You want to do it again and again. You want to see his image so that one day or the other you can see it in your own mind's eye. So that is the grace of Paramatma. So how to obtain that grace of Paramatma who appeared in Krishna Avatara is to sing, he says. You have to sing about him. And singing is one of the, he is called as Gana Lola. Gana Lola is a guna which has been referred to by many Dasarus. And that means what? He loves the songs of his devotees. The song of the devotee should come from the heart, not from the mouth. So when we are singing, if we employ or take other people's lyrics like we are now doing, we have to have that bhava inside us. And that is what is this Vamsha Gayana Priya. Inside you have to have it and then it should come out. That will be the Gayana which will please Paramatma. And he will grace the devotee. And to enable us to obtain such fruits only, Prasanna Venkata Dasaru has given us this Devarnama, where we continue to chant his name again and again. Narayanaya Namo Narayana, Narayanaya Namo Narayana, Narayanaya Namo Narayana, Narayanaya Namo Narayana. When we are chanting this Narayanaya Namo Narayana, we call out to him. You are the one who likes to listen to the grace, likes to listen to the songs. I have no kind of lovely voice, neither do I have a great Shruti, but the devotion that I have to offer you, I beg of you to come and take it. So those who have the Shruti, those who have the good voice also, they have to be humble that he has bestowed them that gift on them. And that is Paramatma's grace on the devotees of Vraja, where he came for their entreaties. When they entreated him using the Gopi Gita. Gopi Gita was a song which the gopis sang because they saw that Krishna, when they were being graced by Krishna through his flute music on during the Rasa Krida, they all started thinking to themselves that we are so beautiful, we are so mesmerizing to Krishna that he has taken me alone and he has given me this loving embrace. He is playing the flute for me. All these things were going on in their mind. That is sahaja for any human being to be overwhelmed with their own greatness. They feel that they are only great. But Krishna said, this is not going to work out for you people. Let me bring you down. So he went and disappeared from there. When he disappeared, they started feeling that if Krishna was here for our if we are the ones whom he wanted, then he would not disappear, no? He would have been there taking the pleasure from whatever he was doing. But he didn't need it. He wanted it for the upliftment of the gopis. So what he did, he disappeared. When he disappeared, they started singing. Jayati Tedikam Janmana Vraja. This song is called as the Gopi Gita, and that Gopi Gita also has been sung in Kannada by Prasna Venkata Dasru. So that Krishna who brings Jaya to the Gokula, where have you gone? They were seeking out his form everywhere with their eyes. So this Gayana has to come from the heart. It should be devoid of the ego and it should be fully humble and of great love to this Paramatma who is the cause of the entire creation. Vamsha Vardaka Sujana. So when the Sujanas are praying to him, what does he do? He give them the bliss. He removes their afflictions and grief and he bestows good tidings on them. Whereas if the Kujanas may not worship him. For Kujanas, what he does is, he just Vamsha Mardaka. He removes their kula. Whatever Kujanas are there, whoever are there, in the Krishna Avatara, he has done Samhara. In Rama Avatara, he has done Samhara of all the clan of the negativity. So even a clan means we think that okay, in one family he'll kill everyone. It doesn't do that. In the Ravana period, we see Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and always slayed by Paramatma as Rama in the form of Rama. But he did not slay Vibhishna, who was the brother of Ravana. That's because here, when we say a clan of Durjanas, we don't mean only the blood relationships. We mean that they are internally, they have this wickedness inside their Swarupa itself. Then Paramatma, he topples them down and he removes them from the place where they can give trouble to the Sajjanas. To such Narayana, I bow down. So we beg of him that you please allow the proliferation of the good people around me and the removal of the negative people around me. This is also one Anusandana we can do when we are doing the Narayana Namo Narayana. And around me, people are there, around me, things are there, which can contribute to my mind state. And when my mind state is positive, I thank all those things and people who are also a part of this contribution. When my mind state is negative, then I try to be away from what is causing that kind of negativity. And that can be done by praying to Paramatma, keeping him in our mind and talking about this Vamshavardhaka Sujana. Vamshamardhaka Kujana. Kujanas are people around us only, is not the thing. The thing is that Kujanas are also existing as Daityas as Abhimani Daityas in our mind. And so they will be pulling us towards the negativity. So when we think about Krishna as the Kujana Mardaka, then he removes that kind of thoughts about what is happening inside. Negative attitudes, negative thought forms, all these are cleared out by thinking of Narayana, who appeared as Krishna and who saw to it that the Sajjanas were uplifted and the Durjanas were given their right places. He saw to it that Bhima killed Jarasandha. He saw to it that he himself annihilated Kamsa and all his Anuyayis who were sent to kill Krishna. Then he also saw to it that the clan of these Kauravas who were causing adharma to proliferate were destroyed. His own words in the Bhagavad Gita, he says that Dharma samstapanataya Sambhavami yuge yuge. So dharma samstapane can happen through the upliftment of the good people and through the annihilation of the wicked people. And that is what Krishna did in his avatara as Krishna. Now we go on to the next 16th verse, which we will be thinking about in a few in for a slight contemplation. Let us use that. Akrura vandya kamsari kubjaramana Narayanaya namo Narayana ಆಕ್ರಂದಿಸಿದ ತಂದೆ ತಾಯಿಯರ ಭಯವಳಿದೆ ನಾರಾಯಣಾಯ ನಮೋ ನಾರಾಯಣ. You have bestowed your grace on Akrura. He came to take you to Kamsa's court and you went with him. And you killed Kamsa and you graced Kubja. Narayanaya namo Narayana. Akrandiside Tande Tayi Akrandisida. That Kamsa had put them, his father Vasudeva and Devaki, in jail. You enabled them to come out of it. You enabled the freedom of them, freedom for them. So that is the attitude that we have when we think about Krishna as the person who can free us from the bondage of samsara. And in the present times, when we have a difficulty, when we have any kind of thing bothering us, if we contemplate on Krishna, then that will be removed. That is, we come out of that. He is the giver of liberation in the true sense. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu.